The internet has been set ablaze with rumors of where Lamar Jackson might end up if Baltimore loses their minds and decides not to pay up. Now, we've heard Carolina and maybe now Atlanta, since Marcus Mariota was just released after he basically quit on the team after he got benched. But I can't help but wonder, what in the hell are the Ravens doing? Now, typically, Baltimore has done a really good job of making common sense decisions when it comes to personnel. So that's why dragging this out doesn't make any sense at all to me. Because it seems now that the franchise tag window is open, that it's not a matter of if the Ravens will tag Lamar, it's whether it will be exclusive or non-exclusive. There is a difference. The biggest question is, regardless of which tag it is, do the Ravens see their future with Lamar Jackson, or are they setting up for a rebuild by using Lamar to clear the way to overhaul the roster and start the rebuild? Either way, it seems like the Ravens are taking Lamar for granted. And if he is unhappy, including if he signs with them again, then the consequences will be high on the field as well. Now, if he is your future, then pay the man accordingly. If he is the key to building your future roster, then move him. If you're going to tag him, then tag him. But Baltimore needs to make up their minds, because right now, he is all they have offensively. Outside of Mark Andrews, the Ravens personnel is severely lacking around Lamar. And if he is out of the fold, I don't care how much magic new OC Todd Monken knows, it's not going to work. Now, some people have said the Carolina Panthers may be looking to add Lamar, and he's liked a few of their social media posts, but that means nothing. But the most popular destination I'm hearing right now is the Atlanta Falcons, who have cleared a ton of cap space and could bring Lamar to the ATL. But that would pretty much close the door on being able to surround him with a ton of talent money-wise. Is Lamar worth mortgaging that cap space? I say yes. Desmond Ridder seems to be okay, but Lamar would not only bring a wave of PR, it would make Atlanta much more enticing to bring talent around him in the future. So let's see what Baltimore does. Either way, they've seemed to piss everybody off in the process. Hey guys, we want to let you know that our show is brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook. You need to download the app right now. If not, if you live in a place that doesn't have sports gambling, well, move. It's pretty easy. U-Hauls are cheap this time of year. And if you use our code CRAIN, C-R-A-I-N, not spelled like the bird, you can place a $5 bet on any pregame moneyline bet and get $150 in bonus bets if your team wins. That's only at DraftKings Sportsbook with our code CRAIN, C-R-A-I-N, or C-RAIN, like me behind the three-point line. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. Cone, big weekend, college basketball, NHL, NBA, UFC, boxing. Hell, I even think there's a Quidditch match.
Formula One starts this weekend as well.
Oh.
Yep. Or maybe put a little bit down on Verstappen. Red Bull win a race.
Really?
Yeah.
Isn't there like 3 guys you're going to win?
No, there's 20
F3?
of them, okay?
20?
20.
20. Guess what?
10 teams,
20?
2 drivers each. Just follow me.
It's not Ferrari.
Follow
I know
me
that.
and make some money.
Not Ferrari.
Yeah, well, guess what? If you want to bet on one of those 3 guys we know is going to win the Formula One race, head over to DraftKings Sportsbook. Use that promo code CRAIN, C-R-A-I-N, for an exclusive offer. When it comes to Lamar, I get it's a game, I get it's a business, right? It's all about money. It's trying to get the best deal. What makes the most sense? And it's hard for me not to give Baltimore the benefit of the doubt, because not only from a draft perspective, but from a personnel perspective, they have an identity, and I think they've made good common sense decisions, like I've said. But David, I don't understand. If you haven't made your mind up, that's one thing. But I feel like they've had to make their mind up either way. You've had enough time. Either crap or get off the pot. That's basically what I'm saying.
Well, the season just ended, and like you said, the franchise tag window has just opened up. So they still have plenty of time to make their decision here. Look, the Ravens offered, apparently, Lamar Jackson $250 million with $133 million guaranteed. That's a lot of money. That's a significant offer. When you look at Aaron Rodgers getting $150 million guaranteed, Russell Wilson with the massive contract he signed got $165 million guaranteed, Kyler Murray $160 million guaranteed. They're at least in the ballpark there. It's Deshaun Watson's contract of the $230 million guaranteed that has thrown all this off. When you combine the fact that Lamar Jackson is acting as his own agent, that's just going to complicate things. I don't think the Ravens are in the wrong here. You have to ask yourself, Are Lamar Jackson's best days in the NFL behind him, or are they ahead of him? In 2019, he had one of the greatest years we've ever seen. He won the MVP. And the past 2 seasons, he's gotten injured. So when you offer someone $250 million, extended through 2027 with $133 million of that guaranteed for a running quarterback or for a quarterback who is at his best when he's able to escape the pocket, and he's gotten injured the past 2 seasons, I don't understand why everybody's blaming the Ravens on this situation. Well, so, I mean, they could either... I think the best option is, like you mentioned, to place the non-exclusive franchise tag on him. Let another franchise do all the work, right? If there's an offer out there, if the market is going to bear a similar contract for Lamar Jackson as they did with Deshaun Watson, let them put the deal together, and then you can either match it or let Lamar Jackson go, and then you get the 2 first-round draft picks.
Yeah, my point is this. You said how much did they offer that was guaranteed to Lamar?
I believe $133 million.
$133 million. So you're telling me if I'm Lamar, I'm going to sit here and just be okay with you paying me, guaranteeing me less than Kyler Murray, who's done nothing with DeAndre Hopkins? I'm supposed to sit here, and Deshaun Watson is an outlier. I'm with you. Deshaun Watson screwed the market.
But he's asking for the full thing guaranteed. There's a big difference between the 133 and the 250. Right? Like
for sure.
That's where the negotiating happens. Like, hey, I want to be more guaranteed than Kyler Murray. I think they would do it.
Oh, exactly.
But
again, I think, look, it's just like anything. One offer's low, one offer's high. You try and meet in the middle, right? That's the way it works. I can understand that using just like Saquon a little bit and talked about he didn't really want to reset the market when it comes to the running back market and things like that. Deshaun Watson totally reset the market when it came to the quarterbacks. That's why everybody hates the Browns, because they did that and screwed this up. But why would you not at least come from a point of, Lamar, listen, we're not going to get, if you're going to say I'm not guaranteeing you the 250, if we're going to say that, all right, I'm not guaranteeing you the 250. Well, I will promise I will guarantee you more than Kyler. I will guarantee you more than every quarterback outside of Deshaun Watson.
And maybe they have.
And if you say if you say no to that, but we haven't seen that. Like you talk about offering what, 130? Like I just feel like Lamar. And here's another thing. Let's look at what's around the Ravens. I think it's hard to sit here and say, well, do we know if Lamar Jackson's best future is ahead of him? Hell, I think it's got to be after you look at the roster the past couple of years. You had 1 Pro Bowler on offense this past year, Mark Andrews. Devin Duvernay was a return specialist. Don't give me the Tyler Huntley Pro Bowler thing. That was a joke. I mean, I think we agree on that. Yeah. The Ravens have nothing around this man. They have absolutely nothing around him. I mean, Gus Edwards, cool story. Like it just shocks me that the Ravens haven't said, listen, Lamar, you are our starter, right? You're our fire starter on offense. You are our superstar. I think of the Ravens now, I don't think about defense anymore. I think about Lamar Jackson. To me, I think he's the franchise. So I just wish it could have been clearer. I wish they would have, because typically, man, and Blaine, you know this, the Ravens know who they are. Like, even I can sit here and say I think the system's bad for Lamar, the way they play. I think Monken's going to be a little bit different. I think he's going to be a little more diverse out of lighter personnels than what Greg Roman was. But when I'm looking at Lamar Jackson, if you're not going to put talent around me and then you're not going to pay me, I'm taking my ass out of here. I'll go to Atlanta. I'll go to Carolina. I'll go to maybe New Orleans or something like that. Where would you go? If you're Lamar Jackson, what are you doing right now?
Oh, if I had the choice just to go somewhere I wanted to go?
Well, I'm talking about
I'm going to the Dolphins.
No, I'm talking about available market right now. The Dolphins aren't signing Lamar Jackson because of Tua.
They could still sign Lamar Jackson with Tua, and they have the cap space. The only thing they could keep Tua and still sign Lamar Jackson.
They can afford to have Tyreek.
Yeah, I mean, you'd have to move a couple contracts.
Okay.
You'd have to move a couple contracts, I mean, obviously. But, I mean, if it is, it's money in Miami, so would I be surprised? And what's more dangerous than Lamar Jackson, Jalen Waddle, and Tyreek Hill on a broken play?
Oh, no, that's... Yeah.
Oh, God.
Nobody's arguing that.
Oh, no one's stopping that. I mean, if anything, if my number one pick for Lamar Jackson would be Miami, with the defensive pieces you had, you would have to deal a couple guys, but I think both those people you would deal would be on defense, and you could also deal your starting quarterback too. If I'm the Ravens, you got to find a way to meet in the middle or a little above the middle. I mean, at this point, you could get a lot for Lamar Jackson. I can tell you that right now. You could get a lot for Lamar Jackson, if you want to start completely over, because that is what you'd be doing. You could get a Derek Carr in there. You could get a Ryan Tannehill in there. They're not even close to Lamar, but you'd be a mediocre to good team, and you'd have a lot of draft picks that you can build for the future. Or you go get your number one guy right now. No way it's going to be 250. It has to be close to, I think, 200 range. Yeah. I would probably cap it at 200 because of the injuries with Lamar, you have to be somewhat worried. But if I'm Lamar, the Falcons are a good landing spot. The thing about the Falcons, though, that worries me, they just got out of dead cap space.
Yep.
They just got out of it, right?
Just got out of debt.
With a big quarterback contract, they just got out of that. You'd be basically doing the same thing with Lamar Jackson if you did that, but you have got a lot of good pieces, and you have one piece that haven't been really used, right? And that's what? That's Kyle Pitts. I would love to see Kyle Pitts match with Lamar Jackson, match with Drake London, just the guys you would have running around back there. But if I'm Lamar and I had the option, I'm going to the Dolphins.
So let me ask you guys this. Right now, as it stands here, if you had a franchise, just going into this season, not thinking about the long-term future, is Lamar Jackson one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL you would take for your team?
For the next, for how
this
long?
season.
For this season?
For this season. One of the top 5 quarterbacks. What do you say, Blaine?
Yeah.
Okay. See, not for me. I'm taking Patrick Mahomes before him, Aaron Rodgers this season, Josh Allen. I'm taking Joe Burrow. And then I think a conversation starts to begin about Justin Herbert, and then you start to throw Lamar Jackson in there. I mean, if it's even a question about him being on the periphery of that top 5, why are you going to pay him top 2 money for 6 more seasons? That's my question.
Yeah, well, I think it just depends on what you think about Lamar Jackson. Like, to me, I think Lamar Jackson, when he has weapons around him, is the top 3 quarterback in the league. I think if you give Lamar Jackson what Joe Burrow has, they're destroying people. I mean, you give him T. Higgins, you give him Jamar Chase, you give him Joe Mixon. Lamar Jackson's got nothing. Like, again, I'll sit here and wait for somebody to tell me all the great players that are around Lamar Jackson. The best players that the Ravens have outside of Lamar Jackson are on defense. They just went and got Roquan Smith. I can go down the list. I feel like Lamar Jackson is one of the few quarterbacks in the NFL that can actually still take you to the playoffs or have success without talent around him. Like, imagine if you gave Lamar Jackson some of the receivers that Patrick Mahomes has had. I mean, imagine if you gave him Travis Kelce. Mark Andrews is nice, but imagine if he did have Tyreek Hill, like we talked about with the Dolphins, like Patrick had. Imagine if he just had some tools. Hell, I mean, you look around the NFL, I mean, the Ravens offensively, from an offensive personnel standpoint, have one of the worst teams in the league. I would take
they spent the least, that's for sure.
Yeah,
they're the last in spending.
They're
the last in spending.
That's
the best point that you can make. But we're also talking about a franchise that won a Super Bowl with Joe Flacco and Trent Dilfer. They're past 2 Super Bowls.
But are you winning Super Bowls?
So you can say that the game has changed and the rules benefit the offense so much now that you have to have a top 10 quarterback to win a Super Bowl, which is a statement that I do agree with. But this is still a franchise that has had that sort of blue-collar mentality. We're going to play tough defense, which is weird that Todd Monken now has gone to the Ravens coming from Georgia, who had sort of the same identity. Look, someone's going to pay him a lot of money. That's why I think the Ravens would be in a good spot to place that non-exclusive franchise tag on him.
Oh, they're going to
let someone else do all the hard work of piecing the contract together that Lamar says yes to, and then you can match it.
Part of me thinks like maybe this is a sneak job by somebody. Like, are the Jets going to go get him? Like, is this something where we're not hearing where he's actually going? Because I mean, I've seen this before, where you're floated this, floated that. We see it in the draft all the time, right? Oh, well, they're going to move up and take this guy. Who is it right now that we're not seeing? Is it the Raiders? Like, is it who is it? Could Lamar end up going to a place right now that we're not even talking about? Because it's just like in coaching, right? We always talk about it's the first guy you hear never gets it. Like, the first guy that's always like, oh, well, this is who they're going after, typically never gets it. Very rarely does that happen. I just wonder, that's what makes the NFL so fascinating. And coming up on the draft, with the Ravens' identity from a spending standpoint, you're exactly right on that. So that's what I find fascinating. Hey, YouTube, I appreciate you guys. Just hit over 50,000 subs. Let's get to 100,000 twice as fast. Make sure you subscribe, share the show, like the videos you see, and turn on that notification bell so you can check in every time we drop content.